Hello, folks. Ram Ramji. Welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. We got some interesting points today. Rahul Gandhi, what is he, an enigma, an idiot, or just somebody thinks he owns the country? Or maybe he just doesn't even consider himself to be Indian. Now I say that for a reason. For one thing, he says he has no house in India. Why? When his entire family is based in India, why does he not have a house in India? But he has at least two addresses in London. Southgate Street and 2 Frognall Way. Right on the hill in Hampstead. Just behind Hampstead Church. How many establishments does he have in Italy? It is said he has a big hacienda in Spain. What does he have in terms of property or investments in the USA? What about the West Indies? Antigua, for instance. Thailand now, but not in India. Why? I mean, we have to pay as taxpayers for his upkeep, his education at this age. I mean, what's going on? And he doesn't even have the decency to put some of his money in India. Now, recently, somebody sent me a clip which, a whole lot of Swiss accounts and large sort of investments or deposits in those accounts from Indians in India. According to that, how true it is, I don't know. Rahul Gandhi has something like 1,140 or 30 or 4, 1,130 or 40 lakh crore US dollars. Now, where is he going to take that money? Or does power and money and greed, or avarice rather, mean more to him than the people of India? First, does he consider himself Indian? Let's see now. He has a British passport, which has been taken, admitted in court in Allahabad. Plus the fact that Dr. Subramaniam Swamy has managed to get something from the University of Cambridge, where there is a DPhil which has been conferred on one Mr. Raul Vinci. Now, Raul Vinci is his other name, the name by which he goes all over Europe. Why does he have a different name? Usually only criminals have that. So A, how did he become a British national under the name Raul Vinci? How did he become Raul Vinci in the UK and Rahul Gandhi here and a passport from both countries? I mean, surely that in itself should put him behind bars. Because one person may only have one nationality and one name. There's no getting away from that. You cannot have a second name. Sorry. Now, as I pointed out earlier, if he's a foreign national, how can he contest any election in this country? How can he be a member of parliament in this country? Now we're getting a little further. One big blunder he has committed, and he should be taken to task. You see, you remember last year, I think it was last year, he was convicted in a court in Surat and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment in a defamation case. He appealed in the Supreme Court, and that has been stayed for the moment. The Supreme Court is still looking at it. In the meantime, having already been sentenced, before he can even file his nomination papers for election in any election in this country, not just the general election or the Lok Sabha, but even in a state election, he must have a permission from the High Court. This is the law of the land. Has he done so? He has not obtained that permission. Otherwise, every news channel would be showing it by now. Why did he not do so? That in itself would mean disqualification. There is no other option. He has to be disqualified just on that one alone. And the other one, of course, was the bribery case, which is still pending in Allahabad High Court. What is that? The carrot dangled in front of so many people. 1 lakh in the bank accounts of so many ladies, especially Muslim ladies. And of course, all of them are now screaming for their money. This is pure barefaced bribery, a buying of votes, which, as per the Citizens Representation Act, is illegal. But he has proven one point: how crazy most people in this country, especially the poor sections, are for money. 1 lakh to them is a lot of money. 8,500 rupees per month is a huge amount. And it shows he is for sale and he is buying. He is buying votes, which again is not permissible by law. And yet, nothing is done. Mr. Modi, if you want to retain power or you retain office, this man should be behind bars. I don't care what the rest of the people say. The Congress party can start as many demonstrations as they like. This man belongs behind bars. Now he comes along, having been elected. In Parliament, he makes this charge: Hindus spread hate, Hindus spread violence. Another pack of lies. Is there no limit, no end to his lie-producing factory inside his bird brain? I'm sorry, but what else can you say? Does he know what truth means? Does he even begin to think about truth? No. So, where do we go from here? How do you teach this guy anything? He doesn't want to learn. There is no decency in the way the opposition works. They were doing it last year in the last Lok Sabha. They're doing it again. This walking out. This is a clear signal that you don't want to do any work, but you don't want to let anybody else do any work either. And if you're going to continue doing this, maybe the best place for you is out of this country or behind bars where you belong. You see, even today during the Prime Minister's speech, they kept screaming, Manipur, Manipur, and kept heckling him. And yet, in the previous Lok Sabha, they spent 3 days debating it. And when the Prime Minister and also the Home Minister got up to answer, they walked out. As if no statement had been made. The entire thing had been discussed. All statements from both sides had been made and recorded. And yet they claim, no, the Prime Minister hasn't answered. Now again, you see selective amnesia. Rahul Gandhi goes to Hathras. Why? But he doesn't go anywhere near Tamil Nadu, where about over 60 people have died as a result of illicit or spurious liquor, which probably means they have been drinking wood alcohol or something like that. Now, why? During the last Lok Sabha, he never went near Rajasthan. Why? Rajasthan had become the rape capital of India. In I think 2022, 6,000 rape cases, all registered, but no action taken. And this was ruled by the Gehlot government at the time. Not a word there, he didn't visit, he didn't do anything. But Manipur, one person gets raped or 10 people get raped and 7 mothers faint. I mean, is this opposition or nepotism or the equivalent of that? If it's a BJP ruled state, all hell breaks loose. If it's a Congress or a TMC or a DMK ruled state, silence. Yes, the silence there is deafening. Sandesh Khali, not a word. Why? Tamil Nadu, not a word. Why? Rajasthan, not a word. Why? And instead of at least admitting that the Modi government has come out with a whole lot of things and taken India forward by leaps and bounds, he's still trying to drag us backwards. And he keeps saying that the Modi government is divisive or the BJP is divisive. It isn't. It is the Congress that has been dividing India along different lines and different fault lines since the 1920s. I mean, in 1928, the Nehru Committee report said that they were going to divide India into states based on language. They did it from 1956 onwards. The constitution means nothing to the Congress party. I'll give you another example. You see, Indira Gandhi in 1975, without any discussion or debate, because all the opposition people were in prison for no rhyme or reason, except that they were opponents. She inserted the word secular into the constitution. Now, most people don't understand the significance of that move. Why? See, if you have secularism and the fundamental rights of the Constitution guarantee equality for everybody, with those two in place, how can you have a minority? It doesn't make sense. You see, secularism means all religions are equal. Equality means all religions, groups and people are equal. So why do you have special status for minorities? And of course, to the Congress, minority means Muslims. And they're doing everything in their power to ensure that the vast masses convert to Islam and become Muslim. How? You remember the Walk Back 1995? They're going around all these forest areas, tribal areas, all among the Dalits and the OBCs and the STs and STs, and telling them, look, they just put their finger on the land and said, this is Waqf land, you have to get out. But then where will we go? Please tell us, how is there a way out? And I said, yes, convert to Islam. Huge numbers convert to Islam by force, like this sort of coercion. And most of us aren't even aware of it. We are asleep, we don't want to wake up. But if we won't wake up, we're either going to become Islamic or Muslim, or we have to get out. Now, you know just how far this has gone on the surface. About 6 months ago, something really nasty came into being that we heard about. The NIA pursuing 15 or 20 suspects to be linked to ISIS in Syria. They got to a village, and here's the best part, or the worst part. A village only about 50 kilometers from Mumbai, in Thane district. A village known as Borivali until recent times. It has now a different name, Al Sham or something like this. And it is a village which has rejected Indian law and is now under Sharia law. That entire village, only Sharia law is in force. No other law. And here, apparently, a whole huge number of people, a very large number of people, have been recruited for ISIS and sent to Syria. What happens when they come back? It's a very, very frightening thought. We don't know how many have gone there and how many may come back. Hardened monsters. Now you see, about 3 years ago, at the end of Mr. Trump's presidency and Biden taking over, when the Taliban had taken over Afghanistan, one of their officials had said, India is a work in progress, what they call Ghazwa-e-Hind, total conversion of India into Islam. You see how it's happening. Plus there are 60 or 70 million Bangladeshis who come here to swell their numbers. Now it's happening. The government, Mr. Modi, Mr. Shah, get up off your behind and start working. Shove them all out. I don't care what Mamata Banerjee says, close that border with Bangladesh. Make it watertight. And all these Bangladeshis, send them back across the border. You have to, there's no other way. Plus, I've said this before, repeal that blessed Waqf Act 1995. Please. If you don't do it, the whole of India is going to lose out. And they're going to lose faith in you, Mr. Modi. The last election has already given you a shock. The next one will be a worse one. Now please, get your act together. This is wartime, no longer peacetime. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, as I've said, does not appear to be Indian. All his assets are abroad. He doesn't even have a house here. Why? He is beginning, as I can see, most people won't agree with me, but believe me, this is stark reality. Most Muslim organizations have begun to gear up for a civil war to take over this country. Recently, there's a clip from Bijnor, a district in Uttar Pradesh. Police on a tip-off raided one of the madrasas. And what did they find? AK-47 rifles, assault rifles, other assault rifles, pistols, handguns, automatics, and a whole large number of swords, knives, and hackers, the sort of weapons they use in Southern Indian movies to spread terror. Plus a machine gun which is capable of firing 8,000 rounds a minute. Good heavens, I didn't think that was possible. 8,000 rounds a minute? What is such a weapon doing in a madrasa where little kids are being taught? Why? What are they doing there? How many other such madrasas or mosques have these stockpiles? How many homes have these stockpiles? And we're all asleep. You see, Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi, get your act together. Rahul Gandhi is not going to stay here. Once the war begins, he'll go off to Spain or London or the US. He hasn't got anything here. He's been stashing it all abroad. Now, according to a list being circulated, the government can't spread this or publish this officially, but you know the amount of money that your friend Mr. Rahul Gandhi has in his Swiss account? Why Swiss account, I don't know. Especially as they've been getting closer to the government of India. Something like 1,130 or 40 lakh crore US dollars. Now, where did he get that money from? I mean, his entire family has been to do with politics, from Nehru down. I tell you how much they've looted. Do you know how much there is in that list? The different people. And Rahul Gandhi, by the way, is not the biggest owner of such funds. $1.7 trillion worth, US dollars, in those accounts at this moment, according to the latest list which came from Switzerland. You remember what Mr. Modi had said? If we can get that here, we needn't pay taxes for 50 years. I mean, you think about that. $1.7 trillion. That's just in Swiss accounts. It doesn't include that in places like Antigua or the US, Singapore, Mauritius, Cyprus, all these tax havens, or the Seychelles Islands, or Monaco, Liechtenstein, and a whole lot of other places. St. Kitts. How many houses does his sister and brother-in-law have in London? Think about it. At least one in Orm Square, which is another penthouse type apartment. Where do they get all this money from, and where are they going to take it? Are they going to take it with them when they go? Have they hold no sense of shame or anything like this? Looting poor people? And trust me, they're the ones who are losing out. Really losing. Because they're further behind than they were 50 years ago. This has been Congress policy. To keep the lower classes down. To keep everybody down. As far as the Congress is concerned, Indians must not come up in India. As Mr. Narasimha Rao had said, and they're implementing. If you're intelligent, if you're capable, get out. There's no place for you in India. India is only for mediocrities, whom they must govern as agents of either the Chinese or the Rothschilds or anybody else, even though they're not fit to rule even their own households. And yet, thanks to this 8,500 rupees in their bank accounts, he gets voted in. Even though he doesn't even apparently have the right to nominate himself or file his papers for election. And yet he does, and people don't know about it. Well, a lot of people have now learned. Those were election promises which he had absolutely no intention of keeping. Siddaramaiah is now taxing people to pay for the freebies he had promised women folk and Muslims in Karnataka. Now he started paying Hajj pilgrimage subsidies to Muslims But whatever Hindus were going to get for pilgrimage, that has been taken away. And we talk about equality, we talk about secularism. I have said before, any Congress government doesn't give a damn for the Constitution. It never has. Please, folks, wake up. Give your vote to the people who are helping you to come up, not to the people who are looting you and trying to convert you into becoming a Muslim or trying to make India an Islamic nation. And you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you made a very big statement not so long ago that India is not a nation. It's a conglomerate of states or a union of states. Well, the US, the United States of America, is the same thing. 50 or 51 states forming one nation. Are you trying to tell us that even the US is not a nation? Well, Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump, this is your great friend who says you're not a nation. Does that make sense? But then did this boy ever make sense? Will he ever learn? Until he does, please get out of this country, get out of our hair. He's coming back, he's coming back. And please, do not allow his carrots to get the better of you. And certainly not to vote him back in power or into office. It's the only way of telling him, look, we do not want corruption or corrupt people running this country. And Mr. Modi, get your act together and put these guys behind bars. So far we've only heard rhetoric, no action. Get busy, let's see some action. As I say, not only must you be seen to be honest, not only must you be honest, you must be seen to be honest. And when you say you're going after the corrupt people, not only must you go after them, but you have to be seen to be going after them and putting them where they belong, i.e. behind bars. If you don't do that, forget it, you're not coming back. As I said, get your act together. Well, folks, thank you. Hope this one goes through, and I hope you guys wake up. Spread this around. Send this on to your groups. Ask them to send it on to other groups, your friends, your relatives, your servants, your drivers, your maidservants, and ask them to pass it on. Because until they understand, and remember they're the vast majority, and please, when you look at it, press the video link, not the picture. See you next time.